Without evil there can be no good, so it must be good to be evil sometime.
Hi guys, Shopper back once again with another Mint in Box. And today I'm looking at something that I have wanted since I was 10 years old. So at least 20 years waiting for this bad boy to come about. And finally, I have a full team of Psycho Rangers. I cannot believe this is a real thing that I own. Way back in, was it like 98? Whenever Power Rangers in Space was on the air, the Psycho Rangers were such a cool concept. We'd seen evil Rangers up till that point, but they were really shoddy. The Psycho Rangers were the first evil team of Rangers that were a legitimate threat, and they were cool. They completely washed the Space Rangers in more than one battle, and I've been enamored with them ever since, and they didn't get a lot of play for a very long time. They came back for a couple episodes in space, and they came back for the team up to the 10th Power, which is probably one of their best outings. And since then, not a lot has been done with them. Unfortunately, I believe a private collector bought the suits and has been very hesitant to lend them out to productions whenever the idea of bringing them back has been a thing. So unfortunately, we haven't had the Psycho Rangers on screen since then. But we do have instances of them appearing in the comic books. They recently had a one-shot graphic novel written by Paul Allor, or Allah, and it was okay. Honestly, I think a lot of good could have been done with it, but it was just okay. That may be another video coming up. I'm working on it, trust me. And after Bandai kind of shit the bed with their attempt at doing the Psycho Rangers, finally we have a full team. We have a full team of Psycho Rangers thanks to Hasbro, and I am so glad to have this. I'm super happy. It comes in this gorgeous, proper premiere item kind of box. It's lovely. It's just nicely embossed. It's really smooth looking. The artwork is gorgeous. I kind of want to display it with the box as well, so we'll have to see how that goes. And on the back, just simply, here are some nice 3D renderings of the Psycho Rangers. That's all you need to know. That's literally it. Here are the Psycho Rangers in all their glory. And if we crack open the box, we have a little insert describing the history. Created by astronomer to defeat the Space Rangers, the Psycho Rangers are the evil, violent counterparts of the Power Rangers. Each Psycho Ranger absorbed the brainwaves of the same coloured Space Ranger, becoming a perfect adversary and deadly opponent. And that's kind of why these guys are so cool. Like, in other instances, evil Rangers are just dark reflections, and they're kind of jobbers. And while the Psycho Rangers have been jobbed out a fair bit, because obviously the heroes need to win, no team of evil Rangers has beaten their good counterparts so thoroughly as the Psycho Rangers. And the first casualty in Power Rangers of a Power Ranger dying is at the hands of a Psycho Ranger, and that is amazing, and why I specifically wanted a Psycho Pink. So I'm glad that she's finally got a whole deal. And if we bring up these guys, we can see we get a lot in this. So we've got black, yellow, red, blue and pink. We have their weapons, we have alternate hands, we have some effect parts, and we have their zappy kind of lightning absorption of brainwaves hands. Surprisingly, they're all distinct. They're not the same mold, which is something I was kind of worried about, especially because I knew that they would all have one. But they are all unique, which is really cool. Right now, I'm going to take everything out of the box, and then we can take a look at the figures individually and talk about them a bit more. And out of the box, these guys are super impressive. If you watched my previous Psycho Blue review, which was a standalone release, I think it was an exclusive to something, but you saw me talk about the articulation in these guys, and I'll quickly run through that here. You've got a lot of decent articulation. The heads are somewhat limited by the collar, and that is the same on all of the figures, unfortunately. But it does mean that they look really solid. The arms are really nicely articulated. The double joints in the elbows and knees allows for a lot of deep cuts for when you're posing. There is a torso ball joint. There is an ab crunch. There is a lot of articulation to be had here, and that's just like one element of these figures that I really enjoy. The unfortunate thing is, because their weapons are so big, they can be a little top heavy. Red saw a release alongside Lost Galaxy Red, and his release is slightly different. Each of these has a overall glossier look than the previous Psycho Ranger releases. So Red and Blue don't have like a glossier helmet from what I remember. So these all look kind of uniform when standing next to each other. They've got a really solid look. All of their helmets are really glossy, which matches up with the actual in-show suits. Red also comes with this special glowy energy effect part that he did not come with in the Lost Galaxy 2-pack, which is cool. It adds another reason to get this guy. So there's already some differences, like there's cosmetic differences and accessory differences. Taking a look at ones that I have less dealings with, let's look at Psycho Pink, because Psycho Pink kind of is the standout. Psycho Red looks really cool, and he's the leader. That's why he gets a lot of push. But Psycho Pink is the real MVP. She actually killed a Ranger. She killed Kendrix, the Lost Galaxy Pink Ranger. And that position ended up being taken by Corone, who was Astronomer. So it's kind of a circular thing, really, with Psycho Pink and Astronomer and Lost Galaxy Pink position. It's kind of cool how that worked out. The new female body type is articulated in a lot of the same ways as the male counterparts, except for one major difference. The elbow joint is only one joint. It's still got a lot of movement to it, but it's not double jointed in the least. It's just one solid, very clicky and stiff joint. But that's not a bad thing overall, it's just something to be aware of. The slight build doesn't really hinder anything. It's still got all the same articulation apart from the elbows. And overall, the Psycho female body type is solid. Her Psycho bow is rendered very nicely, and it also comes with a special energy arrow effect part, which is really cool. It's kind of a shame that they didn't include the Savage Sword in amongst this set, because that's kind of her defining thing. Psycho Black is one of the tougher sells for the Psycho Rangers, I believe, because his helmet doesn't really distinguish itself as much as the others do. So I don't know if they could have done a lighter shade maybe, but he can come across as the blandest looking. I think the addition of a gold collar really kind of distinguishes him and makes him a little different from everyone else. but also that difference kind of puts him out of sync with everyone else. But what can you do? He's pure black on an already black figure. There's not a lot you could have done, really. But overall, same articulation as every other male figure. And he comes with his Psycho Staff, which is like a two-pronged trident almost. And it's got the cool swirly effect that all of the weapons kind of have. Kind of organic looking, almost. And because Psycho Yellow has got the weakest weapon, I decided to show off her lightning hand, which is like really splayed open. And why I chose her over everyone else is everyone else has like a really unique weapon. Hers is kind of rubbish, I'll be honest. It's a fault of the Space Yellow having like a slingshot as a weapon. Psycho Yellow has to have something similar, and it just comes off as like this weird crow pistol. It doesn't look great, honestly, but what can you do? I have to say though, just looking at the viewfinder and then looking at the figure itself, the yellow really pops. It's a really, really good look. I can't remember Psycho Yellow doing much. I think she was one of the last 3 to survive. I'm pretty sure blue and then pink died first in their first go around. And then it was up to red, black and yellow to try and finish off the Rangers in their monster forms. I always preferred the idea that these used to be people that Astronomer corrupted in some way or fashion into probably cyborgs like Astronomer was later on. And it's a shame that the lore that we got in the Psychopath didn't really reflect that. I think the most egregious one was that Paul Aller didn't come up with a backstory for any of the characters. He gave them names, and even then, he called Blue Axe because he's got an axe, and he called Yellow, Yellow. But yeah, Yellow is really, really nice. Really like her overall look, and she looks great as part of the team. So overall, as a set, I cannot complain about Psycho Rangers because A, I am a massive Psycho Rangers mark, and B, they are all solid figures that come with a very nice array of accessories. So overall, I highly recommend this set. If you are a fan of the Psycho Rangers, having a complete team of like the best bad guy Rangers is something that you need to get. And for the $99.99 retail price, you can probably find it a little bit cheaper. I think it's highly recommended, especially if you didn't pick up the Lost Galaxy 2-pack or Psycho Blue in a single release. If you haven't got any of the Psycho Rangers and you were waiting basically for a team set, now is your chance to get it. And I highly recommend that you do get it, because it's a very solid set of action figures and they just look great all together like this. And now that we have the Psycho Rangers, when are we getting A Squad? When are we getting the second best villainous Power Rangers team? Hopefully soon. But as always, I've been Sharpo. These have been the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Psycho Rangers from Hasbro. And I'll catch you guys next time for another Mint in Box.